receive these.
Okay. Good evening. We're going to open this meeting of the regular scheduled Planning and Zoning Commission for City of Red Oak. Today is Tuesday, May 26th. It's about 6:30 p.m. Proper notice has been posted and we have a quorum tonight. Tonight we have Susie Mendoza on my left, Brian Bell, an alternate member on her left, and Karen Stanfield on my far right, Commissioner as well. With the city, we have Ben Hartman, our Director of Development Services, and Roderick Palmer, our Planning and Zoning Manager. We only have a few items on the agenda tonight. The first item is our consent agenda. These items are considered routine in nature and can be acted upon by one motion. Any commissioner can call out an item if they want to discuss it separately. But as I said, these are routine items. So if no one wants to pull anything from the agenda, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
You have a motion by Karen, second by Susie, to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Before we move into the next item, which is our new business, I'm going to let Mr. Hartman say a few words.
Okay, welcome everyone again. I just wanted to go over real quick our rules. If you want to speak and you didn't get a public comments form, Ashley has them right up here at the corner. If you guys could please fill it out and bring it up to me so that we can do this in an orderly fashion. Also, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that what this is actually for. This is for construction parking. This is not for a new data center. This is for an existing data center that wants to park on adjacent land next to the data center they are already constructing. Okay, so I know there was a ton of stuff online that said, and I even heard that people were going door to door and saying that you guys were doing new data centers. This is not a new data center. This is simply an allowance for temporary parking during the construction of the data center. Okay.
Okay, we're going to move into new business. Item number 3, we're going to conduct a public hearing to consider a zoning change request from PD Plan Development 164 Revised 3 to PD Plan Development 164 Revised 4 to allow construction logistics on approximately 61.6316 acres of land, generally located on the north side of Steinbach Road, along the west and north sides of Bachelor Road, and south of the Ellis County limit line. Property identification numbers 312906, 312907, 312908 in Ellis County Appraisal District. City of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas. Zebra Charles 26-08, requested by Michael Landwehr. Robert?
Yes, sir. Thank you again. Good afternoon, commissioners. So as Ben stated, this is going to be for construction logistics, or better yet, parking on these lots that are just north of the Steinbach Road. So on the lots that you see identified here, is where this is going to be located. Kind of on Google Maps, you see here. It doesn't show all the buildings that are already constructed as of right now. Google Maps just hasn't updated that. So what the applicant has indicated is that they're wanting to park on some of these lots, or these lots that are right here. We'll jump into that site plan that they provided here. So zoom in a little bit. So right now they do have a lot of these buildings that are on the ground, but the applicant has indicated that they aren't able to provide parking for the contractors that they need to complete construction. So they're looking to relocate where they have been parking, or add additional parking spaces on those surrounding lots. So here, as well as this lot up here and this lot over here. And and they need to modify the zoning to accomplish that. As with all of their PD, whenever they come back and they do any type of modifications, they have to come back and visit P&Z as well as go to city council to modify any zoning, any additions or anything like that. They have to come back and see us or see you guys. With this additional parking, they are proposing to screen it. And it is temporary parking that they're doing, but they're proposing to screen it with a temporary fencing, with the kind of the lap type of screening device, as well as they will be providing the, so it'll be a chain link fence with the lap screening,
I think it's the
which
next
is
thing.
kind of
Yeah,
right
there you
here, was what that'll look like. And then they are looking to provide the parking will be this flex-based parking surface is what they're looking to add on side of there. With that, they will be, whenever they're through parking or in this areas, they're going to return that back to its current state. So, and the applicant is proposed to park here no longer than about 3 years is what they've currently mentioned for that one. So, the total amount of parking that they proposed in these areas is about 2,500 parking spaces within the areas. And they're including no lighting inside of that area. And again, they'll be removing the parking spaces in about 3 years. And that's really it for this particular area. So all the access will come off of the Loop 9 area as well. So they're not going to be accessing any access points from the Steinbeck Road for the parking spaces. So it won't be any turn-ins from down here. It'll all come in from the Loop 9 area.
I'll just add on to that. So initially, our concern when they had this request was lighting, access, and what they're actually going to be parking on, because we didn't want it to just be a big mud pit. And so they are proposing flex space, which is like a caliche type material that's used on roadways in rural areas to actually park on. Then we didn't want any lighting or permanent lighting inside the site so that it's shining onto people's properties. So they've agreed to no lighting. And then access, like Roderick just mentioned, will all come off the existing Loop 9 driveway and not come off of Steinbeck at all. So they've addressed those concerns, those three. And then another concern we had was kind of setbacks and screening. And so they've set most of the parking areas back away from the property line, as well as put up what you saw there was this chain link with the mesh on it to block any, if they're starting at 6:30 or getting there to park at 6:30 in the morning, their headlights aren't shining onto adjacent properties. Can you zoom in down there? You see all those distances to the existing houses. So they did provide distances to existing houses. I think the closest one is that first one there, that 298.6 feet to the, I'm sorry, that's to the edge of the property line, actually. So that the distance to the closest house is 321 feet from the screening fence to the closest house. 210.
Straight south.
Oh,
What are
yes,
you at?
south.
Which one?
Yes, but the trees that are existing there were going to remain as well. I think someone had written in about that. But you can kind of see there where it says sediment control there in the middle. There's a big clump of trees that is not proposed to be removed. So that will provide additional screening as well. But essentially the main issue for a zoning change, why we're having to do a zoning change, is like Roderick mentioned, it's a site plan amendment. So it's in a PD, it's got to come back. But also we don't have parking as a primary use. So, if you had a piece of property and you just wanted to put a giant parking lot on it, we couldn't do that because we don't have parking as a use. But given that this was temporary, this is a better solution than just saying that now it's a parking lot forever. And the applicant is here tonight if there's any more detailed questions.
Correct. We'll stand for any additional questions you have.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're going to open this public hearing. If you would like to speak on this item, just remember the rules. Come up, state your name and your address. And we're going to go in order of the forms here.
Yeah, we'll let the applicant go first, and then we'll go in order of the forms. Please remember to just, I know I've got it here in writing, but please just, state your name and address for the record as well.
Sure. My name is Michael Landwehr. I'm a civil engineer for the project with Kimley Horn at 13455 Noel Road, Dallas, Texas 75240 or 75240. Just want to appreciate the city for working with us on this, and hope that everything we're presenting here is we're trying to make things as accommodatable as possible during this uncomfortable time of construction. We understand it can be a nuisance, but we're doing our best to adhere to the city's requirements to keep the nuisance to a minimum to the neighbors. We've left 40 plus feet between the edge of our logistic areas and our property line. And as Ben had stated earlier, that the parking areas are at least 200 feet away from the visible residential homes nearby. We are still maintaining all the construction daily traffic off of Loop 9, and are doing our best to keep that way. And I believe we are on schedule to improve and patch up existing Bachelor Road on the site approach in the coming months. But along with this ask for the construction logistics parking areas to the west, this is also a part of moving the construction further north from the first phase of buildings. Can I take the screen?
Yeah.
Cool. So with our first 4 buildings currently under construction down here, as these are kind of wrapping up, that's part of the reason we're asking for the additional parking off of these pad sites, because previously we had been using these future building pads for parking areas, but as those begin or start construction, we're quite frankly running out of real estate. So we're just formally requesting the permission and zoning change necessary to use some of the adjacent land that's already owned just in a temporary capacity to move the construction activity away from the majority of the neighbors. So moving anything that's been a nuisance down here further north as that wraps up. That is all I have, and hopefully I can answer any additional questions from staff or residents afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The first form I have is from Emily Steele.
Emily, before you start, I just want to remind everybody that the time limit's 3 minutes. And while you can talk about whatever you want, we can only take action on what is on this, our agenda for tonight. And it's only the parking for this one data center. We can't take action on any other data centers or anything else going on at the city.
Yes, thank you so much. So my name is Emily Steele and I live at 1576 Stainback Road. And so I live about 3/4 of a mile from this area. And I'm very well familiar with it, as it was my favorite place to walk and view the sunset and relax after my hour commute, because I chose to live in this community and in that beautiful area that I did, because it was so rural and beautiful and reminded me of my hometown. So part of my concern with changing that area, because I've actually already noticed that they're bulldozing some of the trees and the brush in that area as in preparation for that. And so I have concerns that when they're saying they're taking it back to its current state, it's already been modified and is affecting the wildlife that's there and the nature that has already been impacted and will be impacted, as I know that there is going to be progress that is impacting that. But as I'm seeing that you've given them the specific boundaries that they are to work within, and then now they're saying, oh, now we need more, and now we need more, and that overreach continues rather than learning how to work just like you work within a budget. They need to work within that space and not have it impact more of the wildlife and more of the area. And my other concern is the aesthetics as well, because it is now that you all have improved the road there and that construction is done, it's now safer for me to walk back that way, because I had to stop because of it being a one-way road. It wasn't safe for me to walk there anymore. But with that, it would, I mean, even though you have the screens and all of that, it's still not aesthetic for the community. So my hope would be that there would be something in place that would make it something beautiful that it would add to, and there's some sort of solution that we could work with the company, that it would be something that would be beneficial for nature and be aesthetic for the community, while being something that's workable for them as well, and that all parties involved would be able to be blessed by the expansion that we're going to have to feel. So thank you so much for your time. This is your question. Yes, thank you.
Okay, the next form I have is Patrick Deziu.
How you all doing tonight?
Good.
Mine is an open comment, by the way, at the beginning. That's what it was supposed to be. Good evening, members of Planning and Zoning. My name is Patrick Deziu, and I reside at 100 Brushy Way, Red Oak, Texas. I'm here to address a silent structural hazard that is currently slipping through your municipal regulatory cracks: low-frequency ground-borne mechanical resonance. As our region experiences an unprecedented boom in heavy industrial infrastructure and hyperscale data centers, we are inviting millions of pounds of continuous spinning, mechanical, mass industrial chillers, massive fluid pumps, and high RPM cooling arrays into our immediate area. While our city has excellent zoning rules for traffic and lighting and signs, audible noise decibels have absolute blind spot regarding what happens beneath the soil. Heavy industrial equipment generates continuous vibrations between 5 and 30 hertz. These low frequency waves travel efficiently through our dense clay soils for thousands of feet. When they hit the natural resonant, even efficiently dense soils continue to surround themselves like a physical hammer, causing irreversible structural fatigue, crumbling foundations, and cracking historic lath and plaster. Without a protective ordinance, our cities are being left defenseless. Our citizens are being left defenseless against a slow motion property damage hazard. Real world precedents and standards. This is not a theoretical problem, nor is it a novel regulatory request. Forward-thinking cities across the United States have already recognized the industrial footprint and implemented strict guardrails to protect their historic cores of residential property values. For example, the city of Anaheim, California codified Title 18, Section 18.40.100, which explicitly mandates that no industrial or commercial operation shall generate ground-borne vibration that can be felt or measured past the property line. Similarly, the city of Seattle, Washington, as under SM 23.47A.022, established a clear empirical micro-inch vibration velocity limits specifically to prevent industrial resonance from degrading adjacent neighborhoods. I wonder if the civil engineers have studied that. I wonder if you know about mechanical resonance. I bet you do. Even look at manufacturing data infrastructure hubs like Phoenix, Arizona, maintain strict industrial performance standards that outlaw any vibration that is discernible with instruments at the property boundary line. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. We simply need to look to internationally recognized engineering benchmarks like DIN 4150-3 structural standards, which caps low frequency vibrations
Time's
at
up, sir.
0.1 inches per second.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like this into the record.
The next form I have is Krista Kirstens.
I'm here for my aunt, Mary Bishop. Mary Bishop's property is right there on that corner of Steinbach and Bachelor. She is 87
State
years
your
old.
name and address.
I am Krista Kirsteins.
If you want to hold it by.
Okay.
that'd be
Okay.
helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Krista Kirsteins. Yeah, I'm here on behalf of my aunt, Mary Bishop. She lives at 1125 Bachelor. She's on that property for over 50 years. She is now telling me that they're driving across her property. They're destroying her pastures. She has more than just her house there. There are two other outbuildings that are closer to Steinbach than her house is located. She says that she cannot at night. The lights are blinding her at night. She's had to put extra covering over her windows. And she said her property value has gone down $100,000. Legitimately gone down $100,000. And it's not fair that her being lived there that long, being 87 years old and being subjected to all of this. Those parking spots are going to be even closer to her property. I don't think it's fair. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
The next form I have is Kim Sturman.
Hi, my name is Kim Sturman, 201 Methodist Street, Red Oak, Texas. And I had been wondering why we have 7 data centers proposed for our area. I just found that out at the last meeting at City Council. I thought there was one news report said there was 5. The other news report said there were 6. I asked the question. I was told by the council there were 7. And that just seems so excessive for a small community like ours. And it's all in a very small area. And we do not know the collective synergistic health effect of what's going to happen to this community. And that's something that everybody needs to stop and think about. And I've really wondered why the push for data centers. And I understand that these companies are getting a huge benefit for putting them in right now because they don't have to stretch out their tax incentives over years. They get a big tax break right now. And our communities are giving them huge abatements as well. And Fink just came out and said that they're not going to be able to pay for it all themselves. These companies can't pay for it themselves, that the community is going to have to pay for it. And I don't understand what the benefit is to the community. We're having noise pollution, water pollution, air pollution, sound pollution, frequency pollution, and we don't know what kind of health problems. Our property values are going to go down, so it's financial problems and all that. And so they said, well, we have to compete with China. Well, I've just Googled it, and there's 1.4 billion people in China. They have less than 600 data centers, less than 600. We have 340 million people in America, and we have between 4,000 and 5,400 data centers. So what is going on? And I know what it is, and we all should know what it is. If anybody's paying attention to the world today with the Larry Finks and the Peter Tills and all, they want this huge surveillance state, the 15-minute cities. And if y'all want to call me a conspiracy theorist, I don't care. The truth is what the truth is, and it's coming, and it's going to destroy us, and it's taking away our freedom, both health, financially, and our sovereignty to be able to move freely without being surveilled every place we go. So we've got to stop this. We have to come together as a community and understand this is not for us. It is against us. And yet again, we're going to be paying for it. Like we pay for all the wars. We pay for all the fraud that goes on in this country. The taxpayer will be paying for it. Thank you.
The next form I have is Jasmine Villegas.
Good evening, everyone here tonight. I'm Jasmine Villegas. I reside at 511 Pratt Road, Red Oak, Texas. ETJ. I have a few questions for you. I understand that some of these data centers can't be stopped and they're already, in the works and there's nothing we can do. However, as a citizen in the local area, or not, not for Red Oak City, but as a good neighbor, I would like to ask and request that we get a contact directly with DataBank. Good neighbors have each other's numbers. And if that's a possibility, I think that would help a lot of us alleviate having to go through submitting requests through the city and doing all that. I think a direct contact would be amazing for us to be able to reach out to them personally and be like, hey, this is, the issue right now. Is it possible for you guys to come out and handle it right now? I'd also like to request that we have flaggers until the construction is complete, because we had flaggers initially in that area. However, 6 months later, they disappeared. And now I keep hearing about vehicles getting damaged because of these large construction vehicles going through a road that's not equipped for those type of vehicles. I'm also requesting that DataBank pay for these vehicle damages that have been sustained. All these owners of these vehicles that are, getting their vehicles damaged are paying for it out of pocket. And to me, that's not fair. I feel like they caused the damage to these roads and they should be good neighbors and say, hey, we apologize, give us your receipt of what the damage was when it happened and we'll go ahead and reimburse you. I would like to ask, how long is temporary parking? Because it's supposed to be temporary, but is temporary 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? What's temporary to you? My next question is directed to the applicant. How will you ensure there is no permanent lighting? How will you respond to citizens' concerns to cause significant problems as it pertains to lighting? What are the city's requirements as it pertains to light pollution and light nuance? And that is all I have. Thank you.
The next form I have is Michelle Blake.
Hi, thank you. My name is Michelle Blake. I live at 301 Susan Way, Red Oak, Texas. I wanted to find out today, I just wanted to, I think actually somebody's got this on their question. I wrote it down and somebody already mentioned it about the trees. Some of the trees have already been removed, and I would like to get confirmation that the remaining trees that are already on the property will remain and not be destroyed, because that's very important to the people that are already on that property line, to be able to have some kind of screening privacy, especially if you're planning on approving this planning and zoning tonight, or the zoning tonight, to have a parking lot put in there, to at least have some kind of privacy from the parking lot, to have the remaining trees to stay there. That would be very courteous to them. Also, I'd like to know if, since you're talking about having the entry and exit coming off of Loop 9, if you could somehow ensure that that entry and exit from Stainback would be blocked somehow, so that those people don't have the opportunity to arbitrarily use the exit going off that way, so that they're guaranteed that they're not utilizing both entries and exits and causing traffic congestion going the other direction, since the parking lot is actually closer to Stainback. So if you could ensure that they have blocked access to Stainback, because actually it would be more convenient to them, and ensure that the residents somehow that they don't have the easy access to get off of Stainback, that would actually be more beneficial to the residents there too. And then also I wanted to ask about the material being used on that parking lot, which you're talking about. If you would ensure that that material that you have on that parking lot, whether, I don't know what it is, but if you can ensure that the air quality for these homes is protected, so that they don't suffer harm for their homes, their pets, their person, air conditioning units, pool equipment, whatever, because no matter what, I mean, cars driving on a temporary pavement is going to cause something to stir up. And I know the person sitting next to me literally lives right there beside it. And that is going to create a dust storm with these cars driving all over. And that's just one neighbor. So there needs to be something to ensure that that is kept at bay, because this will destroy many things: the property, the humans, the pets. I mean, their equipment. Something needs to be done to ensure that their properties and their equipment and everything is kept at bay and protected at all times. Thank you.
The next form I have is Lacey Hamill.
Hello, my name's Lacey Hamill. I live on 2377 in Red Oak. So all of us here, I think I speak for a lot of us, we understand what data center this is about. We do talk to each other. I mean, I know it's hard for us to keep up with all of them, but we do know which data center this is about. So I just wanted to clarify that. So being this is about the data bank data center, the 61 acres that was being sent out to residents as, I'm going to pull up what the letter said. The letter that the residents in the area received is basically the language that's on the meeting notice tonight, stating that this is a change to the plan development for construction logistics. There was no mention of a parking lot, so I want to go on the record and state that. I would also like to state that last week, I was up at the city offices a few times trying to get clarification on this for the residents in the area that received these letters. I was told that we would have to submit a public information request to understand what this change was going to be about beyond construction logistics. That was from planning and zoning. That was from city employees. You can understand the confusion and why we're here tonight. I expressed that there would not be enough time to submit that request given the 10-day turnaround. The residents who received this letter did not have that clarification. I did not have that clarification. I could not return with a path forward for them to understand that. I could only return and tell them that the city says you have to turn in a public information request. How can they know if they're for or against this change if they get a letter that says that, do you agree with construction logistics on 61 acres? So if it was just a parking lot, why wasn't this shared? To me, being a good neighbor means communication. This is not communication. This is played out more like an attempt to sidestep the public by redirecting them to these processes rather than an open communication. So I just want to repeat, I was repeatedly told by Red Oak Planning and Zoning, there is no way for the residents to see or understand what this change was about unless they put in a public information request. So when you continue to stand in the way of the transparency and you won't allow the citizens to understand what changes are to be made, we will continue to push back and we will continue to show up and ask for that transparency. That's all I had to say on that matter. I've also had people asking about the deaths that have occurred on the roads around Data Bank. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard about these. I don't have much information on that, but I wanted to bring that up, that it has been brought up to me that there have been traffic accidents resulting in deaths. So while we're talking about parking and transportation, that's probably something that, you know, I don't know if you guys have looked into it, but that's all I had to say. Thank you.
The next form I have is Kenneth, is this McGonaghy? McGonaghy?
My name is Kenneth McGonigal. I live at 130 Silver Creek Circle, Palmer, Texas. I come from the construction backfield. It's my understanding y'all gave them a tax break for this design build. And my question would be, if they have the design, but they can't build it by their design, what is going to be next? They're talking about the parking lot with flex space. You've already heard the one complaint. The flex space, it's crushed up concrete, dirt, and then you got asphalt and you got cement mixed in there with it. It's very dusty. when it rains, is very muddy. Start looking at the SPCC for everything they're going to be carrying out on those roads. When the driver sits there and puts on a brake because one of their vehicles goes out there, gets into an accident, they're going to be liable. How much are they going to be liable? Because it's also going to fall back on you all because you're putting people's lives at risk. They need to have a wash bay. They're going to have an exit center. They need to go through, have everything washed off. But if you're going to do that for the dust, go in and do 6 inches asphalt. Okay. They got their design. They're not building it by their design. So make them put that in there. It eliminates the dust. Then they have to, when they're completely done with the parking, they need to rip that back up, restore it. You're talking about trees. Has anyone evaluated all the trees that they've taken down? And then what's going to be the reciprocal to that on putting them back up? Because for most building codes and everything, if you go in, you take a tree down, you have to put one back up. So if y'all aren't following this, then that's on you all. But to me, it's like you invested in a bad design build. Apparently they can't even build it the way they design it. So you're entrusting them to do more. Not my opinion.
Thank you.
The last form I have is Charles Shackelford.
Thank you. My name is Charles Shackelford. I live at 1635 Stainback, which is directly across this parking lot that you guys were talking about. When the data center went in, of course, I opposed it. Although, because the land was there and Loop 9 went in, I was assured that there was going to be something there. And so the data center, although not my preference, was something that could be lived with if it was regulated by you guys and kept in control. Now we have, the original plan was to leave that as RE property. They had established during our earlier meetings that they would be building houses in that area. And so now we're moving away from that in a 3-year program of putting parking there. From what I saw of the map, one, I don't understand the 2,500. I don't know that they've established a need for 2,500 parking spaces. I don't see from the map that I saw that they are honoring the 100-foot step back that was agreed on the original building. That has not changed from the 60 acres. They should be required to keep that 100-foot step back and 100 foot on the side, because now they're going to be invading other houses, and there's another subdivision on that side. If they need more than 2,500 spaces, then they should use part of the parking lot. They have 290 acres that's on the other side. My suggestion, more of an attempt to trade off my skin to save my bones, is that the parking area be pushed up and pushed in, limit what can be parked there. It should be, street vehicles, no equipment, no heavy equipment. They should be able and required, as you said, to come in from Loop 9. We could drop that parking area down to 2,000, maybe even 1,800. There's 290 acres. They can park around the other buildings that are incomplete for right now. So I'm not necessarily opposed to the parking area. I just think there's some more things that need to be limited, particularly the trees. As has been mentioned several times, it's a beautiful drive through there. The trees are up over the road. Why would you cut down trees to have to replace trees? If you could just leave those trees alone, that provides provides a natural barrier. If they're going to be stepped in that far, they're not going to bother them anyway. They've taken out several trees to put in a water line to service their property on that side. So, at this point, I think the limitation is size and scope. And just because of that picture, that takes up the entire area. So, you know, if we could just get it down, make them move back to their 100 foot, protect the people around, I don't think it'll be a problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Tucker.
Hi. This is my property right beside this parking lot, right beside it. I've already got all new windows in my house. Can still hear it every single morning, beep, 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 all day long. So there's no way, and that's way further over, there's no way we're not gonna hear this parking lot. It's not gonna be a mud pit. It's not gonna, I mean, and the trees are the biggest thing to us, right along our property line, which is where that is, that parking lot. So instead of seeing some of the trees, they've already taken most of them out, which they also told us that they would leave a lot of the trees.
Yeah, the mouse is right there.
Oh, me? Well, right here is my property line.
It's actually to the left.
Right, yeah,
You
right
see your
here.
name there, yeah.
But
Yeah,
they,
so that 298.6 is the fence, and then the distance from the fence to your property line.
well, they're already on my property line. They're digging, they've already dug up all the trees between my property line and the data center with bulldozers. I heard it, so I went outside, and they've already dug all the trees up. Back there, you can see right through them to my property. You can, there's no barrier there at all. So we're asking, Charles lives across the street, but we're asking that y'all leave the trees on my property line and on Stainback Road, which we've asked before, and y'all said that you were gonna put up berms, which we don't understand why y'all would do that. Just leave the trees. I mean, if you want to put berms and fences up also, I mean, put them behind the trees. Because we know you're going to do it anyway, so we're just trying to figure out how to have the least amount of damage to our properties. I know they're going to go up in value because Mayor Stanfield told us so. So, yeah, I was counting on that. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I would really appreciate it if y'all would just kind of leave a little bit of what we love there. And, well, no, I do have one more thing to say. He also said this has been in the works for like 6 years at one of the recent meetings, which it would have been nice if y'all would have told us that, because me, the Evans, the Wolves, the Walkers, all the people across the street from us, we're all retirement age. So we don't have anywhere to go, you know, now that our property values have gone so far down. And you could have sold our houses for a lot more and gotten a lot more tax than what you're getting from us who have lived there a long time and probably didn't pay as much as, you know, next door. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cindy Stevenson.
Cindy Stevenson, 328 Pierce Road, Red Oak. I don't have a prepared statement. But I want to tell you, I walked that neighborhood, the Ridge Oak or Ridge, whatever neighborhood, right over there. And most of those people don't even know what's going on. Have any of you guys bothered to talk to any of your residents that back up to this? I mean, it's really sad that these people bought beautiful homes, the new homes along that left side over there, and they don't even know that you're doing this parking stuff. And, you know, I walked and talked to all those people last week, and it's really sad. You know, you got a brand new housing development there right along in here. I walked that whole street and talked to them, and, you know, their values, they've got beautiful, gorgeous $1 million homes, and you're coming closer and closer to them. I mean, it's just shameful what you're doing. And y'all should really take a look. Us senior citizens deserve better than this. What that lady said is going to be the same thing that happens to me. My value's going to go down. I'm going to have nowhere to go. Thank you.
The next form I have is Alex Towner.
Alex Towner at 1574 Stainback Road. I'm sorry. Alex Towner, 1574 Stainback Road. One is a comment. I live about 3/4 of a mile away from by road and about a half a mile from as the crow flies. I am hearing a lot of noise, and that is until very late at night. I don't know what the zoning regulations were when it was approved, but it seems like whatever the decibel rating was, and I know it was discussed either here or with the city council, but I'm concerned that those guidelines are not being followed. The other thing I will say about the location of the parking is what's going to be happening with the drainage. So right now, I know the road from, for a long time now the water has been potentially crossing the road during heavy rains. If we now have a sort of smooth surface that doesn't absorb water, what's going to happen to all that water? And I would assume that the neighbors across the street are not going to be too pleased. So what accommodations can be made to deal with those potential problems? And I don't know what the rules again are, but as you go down the hill on Stainback, heading west from Bachelor, there a great deal of construction has already happened just down the hill in the last few weeks. The trees immediately next to the road have not been affected, but I don't know, 30, 40, 50 feet back from the road, all the trees have been taken down. And I don't know if that's been approved yet or if they can do whatever they want since the property belongs to them. But it's almost it gives the impression, I don't know if it's true, that they've already sort of done construction first and gotten the zoning approval later. Again, I'm not saying that's what happened, but it kind of gives the impression that that might be the case. So that's all I have for comments.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak that didn't fill out a form yet?
Lonnie Jansen, 305 Crestview, Red Oak, Texas. I didn't realize that this was an issue about the parking, but it kind of brings to mind the changes that were done at the council meeting on the 800 acres at the end of Crestview. Supposedly, all of a sudden, 28 acres are no longer included in that project, the Goodloe project. And I'm curious as to what the city's plans are for those 28 acres. When that property was sold, the people that sold it was told that 160 acres was going to be used for athletic fields, et cetera, when she sold it. And all of a sudden that has changed. So I am curious as to what the 28 acres are going to be used for. Is it going to be low rent housing? I know that when Crestview was zoned into the city, it was supposed to be acreages of 2 acres or 3 acres, and all of a sudden it was changed back down to it could be a single acre per property. So that was never, we were never informed about that the zoning was changed from 2 to 3 acres per property to a single acre. Is that gonna be in effect on that 28 acres also? Or is it gonna be low rent housing? What is the proposal for that? And I'm just wondering, Ms. Stanfill and the mayor, where are you going after this city's destroyed? Are you gonna stay in the city? Just curious, asking for a friend.
Is there anybody else?
My name is Ann Wolf, and I live at 1626 Stainback, right adjacent to the parking area that's going to be affected here. When I put in my RV parking, the planning and zoning cited me for having gravel and and then I wanted an exception for asphalt. And then they said, no, I needed concrete. So it went from gravel to asphalt to concrete. So I'm asking that we use the same type of view and hold the data center, if we're going to do any type of parking, to that same consideration, because all that dust is going to affect me. It's going to end up in my yard. We're going to have it affect my dogs. It just really needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Emmy Kunka. I am a Ellis County resident. And I think I share the same concern that everyone does here tonight. This meeting was not properly labeled. There's many people that I'm sure would love to be here tonight to weigh in on how this is going to affect their property values, how this is going to affect their daily lives, how these lighting issues are going to affect their sleep, their children, how their children play. But this meeting instead was disguised as a construction meeting when it could have been clearly labeled so that you guys could get honest and true opinions. But instead, you have people here tonight that are confused what your meetings are for. We want transparency, and the fact that we have more data centers coming our way and we're not sure if we can stop them. What we ask from you guys is that you properly label these meetings so we know what we're here to debate with you about. We need transparency. Otherwise, these citizens here behind me are going to lose trust in you guys. And that's what we ask from you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we didn't get your address.
Just. Thank you.
Did you hear that, Ashley? Okay.
I'm Betty Holman. I live at 800 Pierce Road, Red Oak, Texas. My husband and I, today's his birthday. He's 92.
Happy birthday.
I'm 88. We've been married 67 years. We built our house. We put the foundation on May the 5th of 1976. When we built our house, that was to be where we would die, or where Jesus would come back and take us home. I didn't even know. Alicia, my daughter, our daughter back there, we were coming home and then we saw these signs. No more data, no more. What does that mean? She copied it. And then we found out. It's going to be directly behind our house. We are 2 houses. Let's see, the Gentry's we're the 3rd house from Pratt. We're in the center. I don't understand. I don't know where the parking lots are going to be. I've never seen a map like this. I don't have a clue. But I pray that you will consider and try to make it the very best it can be, because I think your minds are already made up. So please think and do as much as you can for the people that are in the midst of all of this turmoil. I thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak?
My name is Summer Morrison, and I live at 126 Burkett Lane. And I am ashamed of all of you because you have sat here and ignored every single one of these people. These are their homes. This is where they live. You don't live there. And you have sat here and looked at your computers and looked away from all of them. And you are the civil engineer that is supposed to be working on this project, and you have had your head down the whole time. This entire community has spoken to you, and I'm ashamed of all of you.
Everybody else?
All right, seeing nobody else wants to speak, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Karen, a second by Susie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Commissioners, y'all got questions for anybody specific?
I have questions from the gentleman from Data Bank,
The engineer first?
representing Data Bank. Yeah, the engineer. Yes.
Just see if you can field some of the questions. that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have.
Yes, do you want me to state my name and address again?
No,
Okay.
you'd say there.
Michael Landwehr, Kimley Horn.
So when this whole complex was laid out, what was the plan for parking when they got to phase 2?
When the whole complex, like when we laid everything out as far as like the campus itself,
Right.
we did not know what the pace of building was going to be, and did not have the extent of contractors onboarded that we do presently. So we did not know that we would absolutely need the adjacent parcels for temporary parking.
So you're thinking what you build it more slowly so you'd have time to park on the empty spots? Not
Correct.
building it? Okay. Well, back in 2023, when this first came before us, they said it would be 300, 400 construction jobs for phase 1. So now we're suddenly at 2,500 parking spots needed.
At present, there's about 2,000 daily employees on site, and that's for the first 4 buildings currently under construction. So more than 300.
Okay.
That would be about 500 per building.
Okay, so that was different. So I'm a little concerned about how the property be put back to rights at the end, because I'm concerned about things not happening as they were told to us earlier, like we were told in 2024, we were told all the traffic would be coming off Loop 9. But apparently it's not. I hear lots of complaints from citizens that trucks are going through the neighborhoods instead of coming off Loop 9.
But, all of the deliveries and you want to go? You want to touch on? Go for it.
Hi, yes. Joe Tilson, 400 Ackerd, South Ackerd Street, Dallas, Texas, with DataBank. Joe Tilson, 400 South Ackerd Street, Dallas, Texas, DataBank. All traffic is directed off of Loop 9. As mentioned earlier, there were flaggers out initially to stop any traffic on other roads. There was a point in time before the road was built from Loop 9 to access the property where there was some construction traffic coming in from the south. All that has been stopped. I understand, and I've gotten calls before and addressed any rogue traffic that may be hitting another route. Sometimes when an address is typed in, if you type in the address that was given to us by the city, it takes you Steinbach, right? So we redirect those. We actually got a Google Map drop for Loop 9, which we share with all of our trade partners, all of our contractors, all of our delivery drivers, all of our freight forwarders to use that address and to use that GPS coordinates essentially.
So are you going to maintain an entrance on the Steinbeck side? And how are you going to propose directing the traffic to come in from the other side and drive all the way through the complex instead of just taking?
We're not going to connect a road. So we will have, as part of the phase 1 approvals, we are putting our phase 2 approvals. And when I say phase 2 and phase 1, to kind of address your question earlier of traffic, when we first submitted for building permit, we're assuming, 500 contractors per building that were coming in. We weren't expecting that all 4 would be taking off, essentially the same time. The demand for that drove it. So that's the amount of parking that we're seeing today. For phase 2 is the second 4 buildings, which we submitted for last year and were approved via P&Z. We're extending Bachelor Road as part of phase 2. Bachelor Road extended to the north of the property. We're going to leave a separation there, and I think it shows it on, if you don't mind. Here, zoom in, yeah. Yeah, just show that. So we're going to leave a split in the roadway that would not allow access for a vehicle to drive south. The road today only extends to probably, I'm just going to gauge it 40 feet south of there. So we'll leave that separated. So construction traffic doesn't even have the option to take a ride on Bachelor Road. Now, I do want to mention that DataBank traffic and customer traffic will be accessing through from Steinbach. No construction traffic.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please, so I can hear you? That customer traffic and.
Yeah, so we are building on the south entrance of the data centers. Customers after the first 4 are complete, and we're totally separated from construction traffic. Again, I want to reiterate that we're building a road delineation in the road that would not allow any construction traffic, construction related traffic, meaning contractors, general contractors, deliveries of equipment, anything to access the southern exit. Once we're completed with phase 1, the first 4 buildings, customer traffic would access from the south.
It's defined as customer traffic.
Customers, employees of DataBank.
Okay, employees.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Like to The people that work in the buildings.
The
not
people that work in the, yeah, thanks, Ben. Yes, yes, the people that work in the buildings.
Thank you.
So talk about the possible drainage issues. How are you addressing that?
The intent with the flex space areas of parking that are shown in the exhibit, we're not intending to drastically change like the natural grade of the areas. It's already relatively flat and suitable for parking. There will be erosion control measures installed along like points of like concentration for the runoff and silt fences to prevent like sediment and other forms of like erosive runoff from intruding on other properties. So generally, yes, there's a silt fence shown on like and that's diagrammatic, but if you zoom out for me, Ben, the existing like contours or topography for like that area to like the southwest, which is the largest area of parking, generally drains like due south towards Stainback Road. So we're not planning on altering that and channelizing it or anything like that. We're planning on leaving it as close to existing conditions we can in this interim phase with silt fence and erosion, like stuff to slow down the flow of water as it hits the property line, stop it, let sediment drop out, and then as close to existing flows on the other side.
And what's the material you're going to use to lay that out in the parking area?
The silt fence, is that what you're asking about?
No,
Or
I'm asking about what you're going to put down instead of asphalt.
the
Flex space,
the intention right now is flex base.
which is, again,
It's compacted aggregate and stone that's a suitable temporary road base for traffic. It's also used as a subgrade for other roadways.
so.
It's easily put down, it's easily removed so that we can return the area back to an existing condition prior to us putting the flex base down.
So Dusty. And so what does it mean to you to return it to the existing condition? What specifically does that mean?
The flex base would be cleared, the temporary fence would be removed, the silt fence would be removed, and the area would be seeded again with grass so that it would return back to its natural state where it could, I guess, just be like a grassy field and any other native plants that take up would take up.
So there's no place else on all that acreage that you can accommodate this number of vehicles. If you have 2,000 on site now, where are they parking?
So at present, most of the parking is on these, it's on all four buildings right now. These,
I think you can actually see it in the aerial if you let me take over real quick.
Please.
You can see it, I believe. So you can see this building is going up. These are already shelled. And then you can see the kind of parking logistics center here and here with your contractor trailers. And then this big space up here that's being used, which is still shown on the plan to continue to be used.
As parking, that hot
Yes,
space?
yeah, so if you look at that, that is, oops, sorry. That space up here.
Okay.
And so those other spaces, like you said, is this right here. Right along there.
Okay, that makes more sense. So is there anything else you can put down that isn't quite as dusty as that aggregate that you're speaking of? Yeah, I'm sure it costs more, but is there something that you can do to mitigate that? That's a lot of dust, you guys. And it's a lot of cars. That's like a Disneyland road.
Understood. There are alternatives for temporary parking areas that could be used, like more permanent pavements such as asphalt or concrete. Those, obviously, they're more expensive. They can also require more materials just to use. Part of using flex space to mitigate the dust, you could add daily watering to it, which just requires more water, but as do some of the other more permanent pavement types, such as asphalt and concrete, and they're more impactful to the existing land. So alternative pavements could be used.
More impactful, like it's what, harder to take up and restore or something? Is that what you mean by impactful?
Partially. It's more impactful to the land. It's going to be a lot more like intense and drastic, putting hot mix asphalt onto the earth is same as concrete, which typically requires lime stabilized subgrade, which is introducing like non-native chemicals, i.e. lime, into the subgrade to make sure the concrete doesn't continually degrade or corrode. It's used on just about all public roads today. The flex base has the advantage of being temporary and easily kind of maintained and patched. But yes, it can be dusty.
Any more questions for the applicants?
I don't have any.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben, I have some questions about the temporary aspect of this.
Sure.
And we're talking 3 to 4 years.
It's specifically no more than 3 years after the date of passing.
And I don't know that we've had other cases where we've allowed flex space. I know we had the Olive Garden, which was a very temporary time for parking.
Small.
In which one?
And very small.
And very small, right? Not 2,500 parking space. Do you know of any others in the city where we've allowed temporary parking like this with a flex space substrate?
So anytime we're talking to people about parking, it's always in terms of permanent parking. So, no, because all of our conversations are regarding permanent parking, which would be concrete only. So that the answer to your question is no, we don't have anything else like this because we don't talk about temporary parking.
Right. And that term temporary parking, when you're talking about 4 years, it's a long time for temporary parking.
Well, and it's a long time for that less stuff.
If,
That stuff is gonna go, it's just gonna be beat into the dirt.
is that something we could, that the city council could regulate how long that temporary parking could be? Could they put a final date in there or force them to come back before the council?
Yeah, so right now it's set at 3 years, and that would require the end of the temporary parking at the end of 3 years, unless they tried to come back to council and extend it, which would have to go back through you guys and council.
You gotta consider asthmatics. Hold on, how often is
that flat space and all that done.
We are. That's why we're asking questions.
The lighting would still be covered in the original plan development? Or this,
On this one, it specifically calls out no
No
lighting
No
in the
lighting
parking
in the
areas. Correct.
and remind me, do we have hours of construction stipulated in the PD for the,
We
For
do
the,
it in
yes,
original?
yes, for the
No,
original
it's-
site, yeah, the actual data center site.
Yeah.
So we can look into complaints for sure.
7 to 7, right?
So he mentioned that there's, there's chemicals and stuff in some of the underlayments for the concrete. Is there chemicals in flex base or is it purely natural?
I mean, it's not natural, it's crushed up concrete and gravel.
Okay.
I mean, it's a man-made material, but
Yeah.
what he was speaking to is like when we build roads or parking lots, they go in and treat it with lime subgrade, so they dig up 6 inches, mix it with lime,
Yeah.
and then compact it, and it kind of hardens, so it kind of gives a hard base before you put the concrete down on top of it.
So
Is what he's
crushed
referring to.
concrete, so it's gonna have something. 3 years.
500 pounds. Well, I mean, gravel, but it's smoke this year, then you're requiring after a year. This stuff is gonna do what? This can go in this. I think it would be better for that. Yeah. It's a lot.
in this temporary parking, this particular section, it's just for regular cars? We let trucks go down there? Passenger vehicles only.
He covered concrete, but what's gotta be done if anything land prep for asphalt?
The roadway is typically treated as well.
Okay,
Same kind of way.
still with the mix.
Either with flex space or lime remixing
Okay.
typically. So like if we do a brand new asphalt road, well, one, we usually get soil tests, and the soil test will confirm, how much lime is needed. Or it'll give an alternative like 8 inches of flex space and then the asphalt.
So asphalt on top of it would just be basically dust control and harder surface.
Yeah.
But they would have to dig down too.
Yes, and so that you would have to dig down to make it even with the land that's already there.
Yeah.
Now, if they're gonna put down flex space, I haven't seen plans. I assume you're not going to dig down. It's going straight over the top of the existing, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be 6 inches thick, typically, something like that.
And on asphalt, we don't have to use rebar.
No, there's no rebar in asphalt.
They second coated my street today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's an asphalt overlay.
Yeah.
Versus an asphalt.
Just actual
construction.
Yeah, construction, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the asphalt can just be brought up with basically a bucket loader, right?
Well, they would use big pavers.
Yeah, but they scrape it up and.
You mean like when they're
When they're
When
done.
they're done.
demolishing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you pull up the map again? And do we have one that shows an aerial with like a satellite imagery of it?
Of what, the site?
Yeah, of the parking area. Can we go,
Uh,
I just want to see where the trees are that people were talking about.
So they're here along the edges of the property lines,
Okay,
and then there's a kind of a drainage draw that comes through here, that there's a lot of trees around here, and then on down this way. Now, they haven't completed all of the landscape requirements along the new roadway or along, staying back here yet.
So with that draw there, I don't see how they would put parking down there anyway.
So it's not, so if you, let me, hang on. You can it's hard to see,
So I see where it says sediment control.
well, you see how it indents around it.
Okay,
So there's those trees where that kind of triangle we were looking at
okay.
is there, and then the parking goes around it. Now, what they may be talking about is this water line that's currently going in out there.
Right.
I'm sure had to remove a bunch of trees along the roadway to install the water line.
Okay. Can you go back to the satellite again one more time? And I'm probably not supposed to do this. Miss Blake, which trees were you talking about that it looked like they were already? Okay. Okay. Okay, right there. Okay.
All the way to the ledge. Or close. The last house.
Okay.
And that was related to the water line, right?
That's my assumption. I don't, because there is a water line that goes along here and I know that's being installed right now. But just remember, we don't have a tree ordinance, that requires tree surveys or anything like that.
Right.
They marked all the ones that they were numbered. Then they put the water line in, they took some, they said they were going to. They've already dug that water, already there, which. Why don't you know? Mitigate, other cities do.
We can't really talk about other things that aren't on the agenda tonight. Okay. Thank you. The public hearing's already been closed, so I can't really talk to everybody out here. Okay. All right. I was going through my list when I wasn't ignoring y'all and I was writing questions down when I was looking down.
We've already had the.
Yeah.
Does
Does anybody else have any questions, concerns? Well, I'll just reiterate mine. I think 4 years is a long time for temporary. I understand it takes a long time to build these buildings. I'm not real keen on the idea of it being here, the location it's at, but I don't know where they're gonna put it at on this property to still be able to get get what they need done. Have we looked at the north side of this property to see if there's enough spots up there? I mean, it
So
would make,
this is the city limit right here.
right,
So you got the county line is right here, which is the end of the city.
yeah, and I see that, but how many spots are right there where we already having parking?
Here,
And is that a building site that's already going to be under construction, or is it still available right now?
this is a future building site.
But are they working on that right now?
No, this would be,
So my suggestion would be to maintain that parking area up there and push this out a year or 2 years or however long it takes for them to need to get to that area. But, you know, I don't know what their construction timelines are. Sure.
Can you do it for the mic just so it's, everyone can hear?
So that area. The area on the north side of the property, you want to zoom in, is showing parking spaces. But that's actually being used for logistics trailer. So there's a lot of staging that we have there for deliveries. I mean, we do try really hard and require all of our, OFCI partners, which is owner furnished equipment, to come in, schedule deliveries. We have a staging area there, so it doesn't disrupt traffic on Loop 9 or any of the local residents. So a big portion of that is for staging and also laydown area. And it doesn't show it here, but up to the say that the northeast side or the top right of the property line is additional construction trailers. So all that is already being used and taken into consideration for the amount of parking that is being requested or needed.
You said that phase 2 was approved last year. What-
Yeah, December of 25,
Okay, when are y'all expecting to start that?
next month.
Okay. So this is essentially because we're going faster than we thought.
Correct.
There's not a lot of parking in these other little parcels that aren't right on Stainback. Is that just because of the landscape, the terrain?
Yeah, and the kind of the shape of the lot, it's not, you can't, it's hard to make a square out of that, I guess.
A bit more.
Yes. But I mean, just remember, you guys are a recommending body, so you can recommend anything you want to the council.
Is there a recommendation from planning, from department?
City?
No. Our concerns were addressed.
How are you feeling, Carrie? Would we be okay with asphalt, or would we be better with asphalt? I mean, I think I could vote yes for it if it was asphalt to mitigate the amount of dust, but I think that it's a lot of cars, and I realize that they're gonna be there regardless. But also, 3 years driving over that mess. I think they need to have a flat surface.
I don't like the dust for sure.
I don't like this for sure either.
I could feel better about asphalt if we are sure that we're worsening the drainage issues.
There would have to be more, it would have to be more intentional. Like, we really have to get into the drainage when they actually turn in a permit to do the work. And erosion control as well.
All right.
So is it better to modify it saying required asphalt, or is it better to not have it?
Well, if your recommendation is, that you want to allow the additional parking, but you want it to be asphalt, and then the items that go along with asphalt, like proper drainage controls, you can make that recommendation,
Or you can present it as is and vote it down. I entertain a motion. If either one of you have a motion, I can't make it sitting in this chair.
It's really hard, because
And again,
I
this
could
is a
just-
recommendation to
Yeah.
the council.
I
We're
could just
not,
as easily turn it down as I could say yes with asphalt. Asphalt and drainage.
Let's go. They've discussed what's gonna happen if it's turned down. I mean, I have that question, but.
Ask.
So you guys.
Joe, can you come back up, please?
one more time, sorry.
No. So we're just curious, I mean, has there been any discussion about amongst the data bank and the construction companies, what happens if we say, hey, you can't do this? Like, I mean, are you talking, you're gonna have to slow down construction? Are you talking, you're gonna have to piecemeal people in weird spots? I mean, we're just curious.
It would be impactful, yes. Yeah, it would be.
I mean,
And I know.
as slowing it down?
It's true. It would be very impactful, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I would like to say is we're not asking for more parking spots. It's the same amount of people that are on
You're
site
just
today.
moving them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
but
all
our
it is.
concern is when we saw this in 2023, we loved all that property as a buffer to those folks, and now we're saying we're moving them over there.
Yeah, that was one of the selling points.
That was a
We-
big selling.
We
Yeah,
created
no,
a buffer.
Understood. And please just know, we're just asking as
we
following,
understand.
you know.
Yeah.
Can we do this? Can we not do it?
Appreciate
would be, yeah.
So you guys will figure it out either way. You guys will figure it out either way.
I don't know.
Because that's logistics in construction, right? Is you're gonna figure it out either way.
I don't know. Yeah. It's just, it would move it from one spot of property to another, right? It just figuring it out is there's gotta be parking somewhere is where is it? And then it's gonna affect someone. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That answered my question. Just, I agree, we voted this to, because that buffer zone, and we're okay with it.
Mhm.
All right. Sounds like y'all are all where we need to be.
All right, I'll make a motion to bring it to a vote. I move that we approve agenda item, what is this, 3 as presented.
Have a motion,
I'll second.
second by Susie. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no.
No.
No. Okay, the motion does not pass, fails unanimously. Now, can we make sure the council's aware of what our concerns were and that?
Yes, we'll have all this information for them.
Okay, and just for y'all's clarification, this just goes before the council now. We're just an advisory, we're just like y'all. Okay. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the order? Entertain a motion to close.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Two chocolates, people. Two chocolates.